Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's that time of the night for the Dirt and Asphalt Podcast!
Part 2! Woo!
Part 2. Hope you didn't see Part 1. Okay.
Part 1 was a flippant disaster.
Okay, so we tried calling Donnie. He wasn't able to make the show tonight.
Must have been drinking beer or something.
No, he probably had about a million things to do. Obviously, they have a racing weekend coming up, so... Anyway, it's okay. We're going to have David Gravel on here. David was your 2010 Knoxville National Rookie of the Year. He has 41 World of Outlaw wins, sorry, not points.
I'd say he's got more than that.
Yeah, he's fourth in points, though. He has 3 wins so far this year. A lot of runner-up spots. He's having a really good year. He's driving for Jason Johnson Racing now, which is awesome. I'm glad that they are able to have a team. They're able to continue on in Jason's spirit and continue that team. So
yeah,
that's really awesome. David's ready. We're ready. We're going to go ahead and give him an old jingle here on the phone.
Some of the things that come out of his mouth. Oh, man.
Hello?
Hey, David. This is Safe and Alex from the Dirt and Asphalt Podcast. How are you doing tonight?
Good, how are you?
Good. Hey, we just want to thank you first off for coming on the show. We really appreciate it, man. So how's things going for you so far?
Everything's going good, man. You mean in general, or this year, or this week?
Just this week. How's your week going?
It's going good, man. We had a pretty solid weekend at Jackson and had a lake day, and now we're getting ready to race tomorrow.
They are. So, David, obviously last year you drove for CJV Motorsports. Now you're over with Jason Johnson Racing. So what was that transition like for you for going from CJB to Jason Johnson Racing?
So far it's been pretty smooth. Different cars, lots of different things with the team, but they've accepted me at the open arms, and it's a pretty laid-back operation, so everything's going good. Just trying to make relationships with the crew guys and the crew chief, and try to pull your own weight.
Right.
So, David, what's the most difficult part about transitioning to a new team?
Just getting that chemistry, trying to get that baseline, just trying to feel part of the team. The whole team stayed intact other than, me as a driver. So just getting that chemistry together and just getting that baseline. It's one of those things, you have all the pieces to the puzzle, but if they don't work together, they're not going to work. So luckily we've had a good baseline, and we've been unloading very well.
So how would you grade your 2019 season so far? I know you have 3 wins. You guys have been really consistent. Like you said, you had a really good Jackson Nationals. How would you grade your season so far?
I think it's going really well. You can't be perfect, but it's going very solid. We've had, maybe just a couple small bad stretches out on the West Coast, and then a little bit right around Charlotte time the week after that, but right. 90 or 80% of the time it's been going very well, so I give us a B+.
That's good. So, David, obviously when you moved, I'm friends with Bobby Johnson, so what's it like having Bobby as I guess kind of like an owner? She's there just about every single race, so what's it like being around Bobby and the family?
It's good. Bobby's been traveling here or there, and now she's with us for a little while, so it's good to have her and Jax around and hang out and be a part of the team. And she's out there selling shirts and interacting with everybody, doing her part, so it's been going well.
So, David, we're heading into the summer months. Obviously, Jackson was kind of the first big money race of the year, and you got the Kings Royal coming up in a couple weeks, and then followed by the Nationals, and then the National Open at the Grove, and so forth. What do you think it's going to take for you guys to kind of get some of those big wins under your belt this year?
Well, the sport changes so fast. You could be rolling good one month and not the next, or you could be having a good balance somewhere else and maybe not another track. But I think we left Knoxville on a good note with a good balance, and we learned some stuff there. And then, Eldora, we're going to race there 4 days in a row. So I would hope by the fourth day we got stuff figured out there. But, last time we were at Eldora, we quick timed and got rained out. So we're looking forward to going back there. And, Williams Grove, we won there already. So hopefully we continue to have strong runs there. But it's one of those things, man. The sport's very humbling, and you can have a good stretch or a bad stretch, but hopefully we hit our stride when the big money's on the line.
So what do you think it takes? You brought up a really good point that sprint car racing is really humbling and that it's very tough. And obviously in today's era, everybody's so competitive. The cars and the engines are almost identical. What do you think, in your personal opinion, what does it take to have a really, really successful sprint car racing team in 2019?
Being as consistent as possible, try all the variables that you have in your control, do those to the best of your ability. Going out the road, if you tear a car up or blow a couple engines up, you got to be prepared for when, bad things happen. So, and just having a strong team, doesn't matter if you have the best crew chief or the best driver or the best tire guy, you got to have good guys everywhere in the team. There can't be a weak link because it's a grueling schedule, and it's hard to just stay happy out here, staying in hotels, eating bad food. It's a struggle just to stay positive and, keep going and pushing forward and putting in the time and work throughout the, span of the season. So it's just going to take as consistent as possible and qualifying well, and then taking advantage when you qualify well. It's a lot easier said than done, but you got to qualify well, but you also don't want to give it up in the heat race. So it's going to take every aspect to succeed.
So talking about, obviously being on the road, that mental and physicalness of being on the road, I don't think people realize how much that is. So with everything you said there about, making sure you're getting qualifying, making sure you're getting your heat race, all that, is being consistent in those areas, because obviously you're only 160 points out from first place in point standing. Is that consistentness is what's going to take your team to possibly win the points this year? Is that key consistentness? Obviously, we know Brad Sweets, he's very dominant right now. Pittman, so is that what's going to take you guys to get up there and win that points? Is that consistency that you need?
It's definitely going to be consistency. It's one of those things that's the hardest part of our game. So many different racetracks, so many different regions, lots of different dirt. That's what makes us the best, in the world, or the best in the sprint car racing world. Brad's got it going on right now. He's extremely consistent, and he's been with the same guys and team for a while, so all those things help. We just have to do a good job at learning what works for us throughout the year and then what doesn't, and put the stuff that doesn't behind us. It's one of those things. It's an ongoing situation. Tires could change throughout the season. The summer months are different than, the stuff later in the year in October and stuff like that. So it's one of those things, man. You just got to be on top of your game at all times.
So we've talked about the here and now, David, and I guess my next question is, I'm just kind of curious personally, what made you decide to get any sprint cars? You've been in the sprint car world for several years now. What is it about sprint car racing that made you decide that this is what you wanted to do?
I never had real big dreams of doing it. I didn't really know what a sprint car was in the beginning. Just for whatever reason, my path in racing brought me to where I am. Raced quarter midgets on asphalt and decided to do the micro because the dirt looked fun, and then got to see my first sprint car race, and then just kept going from there. But, now looking at it, I'm just happy to be where I'm at, and also, sprint cars are one of the most fun race cars to drive in the world. So, there's no perfect job out there, and the schedule is grueling and all that, but at the end of the day, the racing is a lot of fun, and I'm able to make a living doing it, so it's a pretty good deal.
So, David, one question that we always ask drivers, we've had Mark Dobmeyer on, Danny Lasowski, Brad Sweet. Just a few to mention, but this is one question we always ask: is what's your opinion on the safety of the tracks and the cars? What do you think could be improved, or do you think that it's good where it's at? I mean, what are your biggest things in the safety realm of sprint car racing right now?
Well, I'm not a safety professional or didn't go to school for any of those things, so maybe my opinion isn't, 100%, correct or accurate, but it's my opinion. But I think the cars, they did a pretty good job with those. I get worried about sometimes with head heights, how, tall some guys are, how high they sit in the car. I think that they've done a better job inspecting cars and beefing certain things up with the cars. Maybe down the road, we seem to be going just faster and faster, and maybe thicker chassis would be better, but, who knows? I don't know if that would be better or worse. But as far as the tracks, I think that's the biggest need for improvement. I think a lot of tracks have done a great job and have stepped it up. But there's so many racetracks out there, and the issue we're battling is money. Tracks to afford to upgrade their facility. But in our world, the World of Outlaw world, I just feel we should never put ourselves as an organization in that position to be at a track we don't think is safe. I think the leaders or whoever makes the schedule or who makes those decisions should look thoroughly into where we're going, and if it's a new track, where we're going in the future, to inspect that and kind of come up with parameters or a checklist on if it passes or not. I think there's a lot of things that tracks could do with barrels, tires, sand, just all sorts of things to help blunt force walls. I think concrete walls and just blunt edges are our biggest concerns and our biggest scare for safety. So hopefully Tracks Cross Country can continue to make their tracks better and just make them safer.
So, do you think that? What do you think is the biggest concern about? I know a lot of these racetracks you guys go to are probably not up to the safety levels of like an Eldora or Knoxville or things like that. Do you think it's more? Do you think we need better catch fences, better lighting, more well-trained safety crews? What do you think's the biggest concern going forward? Because I actually agree with you, David. I think the cars are relatively pretty safe. Relatively speaking. What is the single greatest thing you think that needs to be improved upon?
Well, I think lighting, definitely is a concern, but there's other things that are bigger concerns. But I'm saying 75% of the racetracks we go to aren't lit very well, or need to be lit better. And I always look out for that. But there's so many theories on a catch fence or no fence. What's better? What's worse? I'm just saying, make sure there's no poles or beams or concrete walls. Terre Haute, an example that, they have double high jersey barriers there and, nothing to protect the edges and stuff from hitting those things. A couple guys have gotten hurt there, Shane Neal and stuff like that. So I just say concrete is not our friend. NASCAR had all concrete walls and created the safer barriers, and that improved their safety a lot. But they had a lot of funding, and they have a lot more backing than us. But I'm sure you could go to almost every racetrack other than a couple in this country and say they don't need anything. So I'm sure about 95% of the tracks can improve on something each year.
So, David, I want to go away from sprint car racing for a couple seconds here because I've seen photos of this car. I think I saw a video of it, and I know that you and I talked at Knoxville when I was talking to you. Tell us about this Mustang that you have, because I've seen photos of this thing. This thing just looks awesome. And just because I know that you're a dirt guy, but I obviously know you're kind of an asphalt guy too with this Mustang, so why don't you talk us through that?
Yeah, that's my second car I've ever owned. I had it in high school. I think senior year in high school I bought it, and just plan on never getting rid of it. It's like my toy, my my baby. Have fun drag racing it a couple times a year. It's been through a bunch of different stages. It was just a fun street car. We go to the Lebanon Valley almost every week. I guess maybe a couple times, 4 or 5 times a year probably at some points. And then racing got really busy, but then I supercharged it, and then it got pretty serious. It's still a street car, but it makes a little over 800 horsepower to the wheels.
What kind of when you go to the strip? What kind of times do you do?
My best time is 9:88 at 142.
Is that a full quarter?
Yeah, it's a quarter mile.
Oh, wow. Man, that's moving.
It's still a stick shift car. It's got no cage or anything. It's it's obviously pretty loud, but if it just had the street wheels and tires on it, you would really never know that it's that fast. So not a lot of stick shift cars out there left. Mostly they're all automatics nowadays.
Right. That's true.
So how many times, obviously, you got a busy schedule. How many times a year do you get that thing out?
Well, I just moved to Florida this past year to give me a little bit more time in the winter time, because in Connecticut, it's a little snowy there in the winter time.
Yeah.
Same here.
Can't do much. So I was able to go 2 times this past winter with it. Hopefully this year I'll be able to go more this winter. Just all depends on my schedule, and time seems to fly by with the holidays and Chili Bowl and stuff like that. So it's still a lot of work to go racing, even if it's for fun. A lot of preparation, and got to bring a lot of tools with you and all that. So I have a lot of fun doing it. Hopefully we do it some more.
So if you got out of sprint car racing, would you go into drag racing then?
I don't know. I love cars. My dad owns a body shop. I've been surrounded by cars my whole life, so I'm like an encyclopedia with cars. I could tell you, prices, transmissions, horsepower, engines.
Yes.
Pretty much tell you about every car here in America. So I'm into that kind of stuff. Like a speed shop would be cool, or some sort of business with cars, or selling parts or something like that. I think would definitely be my forte, but who knows? We'll see where it takes me.
Well, I mean, we're gonna have to come talk to you at Eldora. I work at a parts store, and I have a little Subaru WRX that I absolutely love, and I'm kind of making that into a drag racer. And Alex, him and his dad own a engine shop in town. They build some sprint car motors and some other things like that. So we'll have to come check you out at Eldora, and we can talk about some cars.
Yeah, for sure, man. What year is your Subaru?
It's a 2002.
Okay, so
it's a 5-speed.
Bug-Eye.
Yeah, it's a little Bug-Eye. That's been my favorite car forever and ever. I love the Bug-Eyes.
Yep. Very cool.
So
I really want a 07 Hawkeye in white STI one day.
Oh, there you go. That would be awesome.
So just kind of to wrap things up here real quick, David, we don't want to take too much of your time. You've had a pretty accomplished career so far. You're pretty much in the prime of your driving career right now. What's the one moment so far that you've had that stands out to you and that you're probably most proud of?
Man, that's tough to say. I think it was really cool getting our first Outlaw win with our family team. That was always a really cool moment, because it kind of shocked everybody and shocked us too. It was something that was kind of unexpected, but that was a really cool moment. But winning the National Open for the second time with no controversy, nobody talking crap. That was satisfying, and a crew chief and a car owner that grew up in Pennsylvania and has never won their biggest race in their state, and to bring them that accomplishment was definitely satisfying. That would be another cool one, and it's hard to pick one. The perfect night at Knoxville on the prelim night.
Yeah.
It was like, it was just an awesome week until we blew our motors Saturday night. If we were able to win that race or run on the podium, that would probably be, number one for sure.
Yeah. Well, David, we want to thank you. Our fans want to thank you for just giving us a little bit of your time, being able to pick your brain about a few things. Good luck this weekend. We look forward to talking with you at Kings Royal. But again, have a we really hope you have a good weekend. Hopefully you can pick up a couple wins this weekend.
Yeah, good luck the rest of the season.
All right. Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thanks,
Yep,
David.
appreciate
Talk to you
it.
later.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Well,
Well-
ladies and gentlemen, there you go. That was David Gravel.
Yep, that was a good interview. David's a pretty cool dude. Pretty cool that he's a car guy.
Yeah, it is. You don't really. I mean, obviously, sprint car racers, they're gearheads in that realm in the sprint car.
Yeah, but
it's cool to have one that is an all-around general
It's cool. He's
car
not
guy.
just a guy who hops in it, drives a car, goes home, and just plays golf. You know, it's kind of cool. He's a guy who goes home and works on his own street car, goes drag racing. You know,
Yeah.
not a lot of guys do that. You know, a lot of
No.
NASCAR guys don't do that. So
No, it's cool. You know, his dad owns a body shop, so he grew up around cars. So obviously, he's well trained in that field. And
Yeah.
to have that Mustang,
Absolutely.
man, that thing sounds like it moves.
I think it does.
That's pretty
Pretty quick
fast.
quarter time. But
Yeah, it is.
fans, thank you again for tuning in. We apologize about the Donnie Schatz incident.
Is what
weren't,
it is.
weren't able to get him on the phone tonight. Obviously, something came up. Donnie wasn't able to. We'll try to get him on the show at a later date. But again, thank you for following us. Again, a lot of great racing coming up this weekend. Get out and support your local dirt track, and local racetrack in general.
Yeah.
And it's safe with that. I think it's time for us to check out for the
It is. And one other thing, fans of this show, thank you for getting us over 500 followers. We're now trying to hit that 500 like mark.
Yep,
we're like
hopefully.
we're 8 away, I think, maybe 7,
Get us to
8 or
the-
7.
Get us to the
we're so close.
Get us to the 50,000 mark. You guys would be awesome if you do that.
If we hit 50,000, I don't know what I do. Anyway,
Get grown.
ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that has been your DNA exclusive interview with David Gravel here on this wonderful night. Make sure you go out and support your local track this week. Also,
Just
PA
said
Speed
that.
Week happening right now. Make sure you check that out as well. Ladies and gentlemen, have a good evening. Keep it clean, keep it green. Woo!